waiting to find out how the Trump administration will overhaul the children's vaccination schedule in 2026. Until then, medical experts attended a meeting today to discuss vaccinations for the youngest Americans. Teresa Priolo joins us now with more on that. Teresa?
Yeah, Natasha, the Department of Health and Human Services is planning to revamp the entire childhood vaccine schedule in the new year. Today, the Advisory Committee on Childhood Vaccines met virtually with CDC officials. The Department of Health and Human Services, led by JFK Jr., has already recommended changes to vaccines for COVID-19, hepatitis B, and measles. Well, now they're considering aligning U.S. policy more closely with other countries like Denmark that administer fewer shots to kids. Data from the European CDC shows Denmark doesn't vaccinate kids against Hep A, chickenpox, and RSV, the leading cause of hospitalization among infants.
Basically 30-year period from 1994 to 2023, which CDC estimated that vaccination of children born during that time prevented more than 500 million illnesses, avoided more than 1 million deaths.
So critics are arguing that the administration is poised to adopt Denmark's policy because it administers fewer vaccines than any other Western country. If the new schedule is adopted, it would reduce the number of vaccines that children in the U.S. get from 17 to 10. Natasha.
All right, Teresa, thank you. Maimonides Health announcing a plan to merge with NYC Health and hospitals. Officials saying the deal will let Maimonides bolster its financial position because its facilities will be reimbursed at a higher rate by Medicaid after becoming part of the public healthcare system. The agreement will also be supported by a $2.2 billion state grant. The merger still needs final legal and regulatory approval. Well, Fox 5 is watching your wallet and helping you get rid of all that mounting holiday debt. We're talking to an expert about the top 3 things to do to get you back on financial track. And does a new year mean new hope for the Jets and Giants, or will the misery continue? What 2026 could have in store? Welcome back. Millions of Americans are already feeling the holiday hangover, consequences from their expensive spending decisions. LendingTree.com reporting that over a third of Americans will rack up holiday debt this year, averaging more than $1,200. Personal finance expert Paul Oster explains that before you can even pay off the debt, you have to get your spending under control.
The very first thing you have to do is pause new spending. Right? So you're not going to spend any money on non-essential things that we want. I know you got to buy groceries and gas and essential things, but we're gonna put a spending freeze in place for at least a couple of weeks.
He says the next step is using those savings to pay down your credit cards with the highest interest rates first and to make those payments as early as possible because interest rates compound daily. This year's One Big Beautiful Bill Act will mean big changes to your 2025 tax bill. Standard deductions are going up for both singles and married couples who don't itemize. Singles get an additional $750 deduction, and married couples filing jointly get an extra $1,500. Seniors born before January 2nd, 1961 with a valid Social Security number may be eligible for a new personal deduction. State and local tax deduction caps go up from $10,000 to $40,000. Some people also get to avoid taxes on tips and overtime. The state and Con Ed have agreed on rate hikes for the new year, but they haven't officially been approved yet. New York State Senator Shelley Mayer says Con Ed is now proposing a 3.5% electric increase and 4.4% gas increase for 2026, with additional increases in 2027 and 2028. These increases are lower than the double-digit increase first proposed by the utility company. The Public Service Commission still has to sign off on the deal. All right, time for the weather. Let's check in with City Bike riders just can't catch a break. They're facing yet another rate hike at the start of the year. The latest price increase is happening next Monday. Arthur Sheehan has reaction from riders and the reaction and reason behind this move.
The simple act of using a city bike is about to get a lot more expensive for the 4th time in 2 years. On Monday, City Bike, which is owned and operated by Lyft, announced another round of price hikes, continuing a trend of skyrocketing costs to New Yorkers in recent years. Alice, for one, doesn't like it, and she's not alone.
So they started out really good. They need competition. I hate to say it, but they need competition because they're just not living up to what they should.
You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a big thing. It should be easy, cheap, and you know what I'm saying?
The hikes kick in on January 5th. Annual memberships jump up to $239 a year. Members who use e-bikes will be charged 27 cents a minute, and that's an 8% hike. And the e-bike cap also goes up 8% to $5.40 for rides entering or exiting Manhattan. It was a different tune in 2013 when then Mayor Michael Bloomberg rang in the new bike share program.
And the largest bike share program in the country is officially launched.
But the largest bike share system in the country is now charging New Yorkers more than riders in any other city. Annual memberships were $95 a year, and by the end of the month, it will have gone up another 150%. In a statement to Fox 5, Lyft says the cost of expanding and maintaining such a large system is part of the reason for the price increases, but they also point to the fact that New Yorkers do not get a penny in public funding for their bike share program. And transportation experts agree with Lyft, saying that that funding should be there.
The fundamental challenge is that right now the riders of City Bike are paying for the entire system as opposed to a more balanced approach like we see in lots of other transportation options around town, including, I should add, driving on the road. There's a huge amount of taxpayer subsidy that goes to support the roads and folks who are using their cars to get around.
While other cities contribute funds, keeping prices affordable for their residents, New York does not. And experts and Lyft agree, until that changes, New Yorkers will continue shelling out more money for their bike share. In the Lower East Side, Arthur Chien, Fox 5 News.
Well, the MTA is adding extra service to help people ring in the new year. Subways will run on a regular weekday schedule with extra trains for lines that pass through Times Square. Metro North will add extra trains on the Hudson, Harlem, and New Haven lines. The Long Island Railroad will also add trains, and you can find out more about the extra service at mta.info. New York State is seeing its highest number of flu cases ever recorded in a single week. Fox 6's Michelle Ross breaks down how to lower your risk of getting severely ill and what to do if you're already sick.
If it feels like everyone around you is sick, you're not imagining it.
We're hopefully in the peak right now. I hope it doesn't go higher than the case load we're seeing right now.
New York State reported more than 71,000 flu cases in a single week, the most ever since the flu became a reportable illness back in 2004. More than 15,000 of those lab-confirmed flu cases were on Long Island alone. Hospitalizations are also up significantly, spiking 63% from the week before, jumping from 2,251 to 3,666 statewide. Every year, scientists try to predict which flu strains will dominate, but those predictions aren't always entirely accurate. Take this season, for example, when a new strain emerged late.
Even if it's not a perfect match and it doesn't prevent you from contracting the flu, it can prevent severe illness, and it certainly prevents hospitalizations and deaths.
Young children and the elderly are most at risk. So are people with underlying health conditions like asthma. Common symptoms can feel like a bad cold: fever, chills, cough, runny nose, and in some cases, vomiting or diarrhea.
If you feel sick, please stay home. Please don't send your children to school until they're feeling better and fever-free for at least 24 hours.
So far this flu season, more than 1,900 people have died from the flu, including 3 children. CDC data shows last flu season, about 90% of pediatric flu deaths took place in children who were not fully vaccinated. In Levittown, Michelle Ross, Fox 5 News.
A father and son in the Bronx are doing their part to help out those in need this holiday season. Jerry Jones and his 14-year-old son Elijah say that they were inspired by the 2000 film Pay It Forward to host an event today in the Bronx to help kids affected by homelessness and anyone else in need. The event gave out clothing, free haircuts, and on-site medical checkups.
There's a lot of people that's going through a lot of hardship right now in the community, and I think that everybody has something about them that they could do. They could tap in, they could give it forward, they could pay it forward. So, like, it takes nothing to stop what you're doing. Whether it's $1, 50 cents, holding the door for somebody, everybody can pay it for it.
We're helping out all these people, and in return, we don't want them to help us out. We need them to help other people, so the people that need it can get what they need.
They say that their mission is to restore dignity and inspire kindness in others. Everyone who went to the event today was asked to pay it forward with 3 acts of kindness. The government might be giving your child $1,000. What to know about opening a Trump account? And who says a penny can't buy you anything? Where and when you can get your hands on a 1-cent burger? administration rolling out a new kind of savings account to help kids put away money until they become adults. Fox 5's Antoine Lewis breaks down what you should know if you're thinking about opening up a Trump account.
Parents looking to get a jump start on their children's financial futures can look to the White House and Trump accounts, investment savings accounts for children.
Real trust funds for every American child, allowing family members, employers, corporations, generous donors to contribute money that will be invested and grow over the course of a child's life.
Any child under the age of 18 with a Social Security number is eligible to open a Trump account, but for babies born between January 2025 and December 31st, 2028, the accounts come with a $1,000 contribution from the Trump administration. Additionally, some kids are eligible for more funds from philanthropists Michael and Susan Dell.
Our gift will cover most of the children that are 10 and under that are not part of the federal program, the 0 to 2-year-olds, and who also live in zip codes where the median income is $150,000 or less.
But enrollment in the program is not automatic. Families are required to fill out a tax form, Form 4547, similar to this. And that's just one of the concerns for Elaine Mogg, senior fellow at the Urban Institute.
We know from evidence in Maine of a similar program that when families had to opt into the program, participation was around 40%, and low-income families were the least likely to participate.
Children can access the funds at age 18, but there are penalties for early withdrawals. Kate Ashford is an investment specialist with NerdWallet.
When you withdraw your contributions to the account, you won't pay taxes on those, but you will pay ordinary income tax on any earnings in the account. There is the slight advantage of the earnings being tax-free as they grow over the years, but when you withdraw that money, you will pay income tax.
But these accounts will track the overall stock market and will be 100% private property controlled by the child's guardians.
However, experts caution how problematic that could be.
For people who aren't familiar with investing or comfortable with investing, or people who might want to pull that money out and put it into something even more conservative as they approach needing to use the money, you don't really have that option. So you are sort of tying your savings wagon, so to speak, to the stock market and just crossing your fingers.
That said, some say the government trying to jumpstart the financial futures of the next generation isn't a bad thing under keen parental stewardship.
It's a nice message to send that the government cares about children, and the Trump accounts also provide opportunities for parents and community members to put additional funds in the account. So there's a lot of possibilities for the accounts to grow for the children.
Antoine Lewis, Fox 5 News.
Well, soon you'll be seeing fewer Starbucks stores. The coffee giant says it plans to close about 400 stores across the country in the new year, mostly in big cities. The chain has already closed 42 locations here in New York City, along with 20 in Los Angeles and 15 in Chicago. The company blames growing competition, rising costs, and more people working from home. It's National Bacon Day tomorrow, and to celebrate, fast food chain Wendy's is offering its popular Junior Bacon Cheeseburger for just 1 cent. And no need to stand in line. The offer can be redeemed through the Wendy's app along with a regular purchase. Another lesson learned from the cell phone ban in schools. Teachers in New York are realizing their students don't know how to read a clock. Well, an unintended consequence of taking away phones from students in class. Teachers in New York City are learning their students can't read a clock. Fox 5's Roger Giordino looks at why some kids don't know the basics.
Watching the hands of a clock move and understanding what they mean used to be one of the most basic skills students learned in school.
What time does that say right now?
Let's just say it's 8:50.
I know, I saw what you did.
Students got used to checking the time on their phones. Without them, some are struggling to read the clocks on the wall.
Is it easier to read the digital or one of those clocks?
The digital because it's numbers for me.
Is it numbers?
I can read it, but it takes me a little bit of time.
Reading an analog clock takes more than just seeing the numbers. It requires spatial awareness, understanding where their hands are. It involves sequencing, knowing how minutes move and hours change. And it takes mental translation, turning that visual information into meaning. Author and parent advocate Liz Stern says, those steps support brain development and are skills that kids use far beyond telling time.
When you learn how to tell time and when you learn how to write script, they're really important for the brain. the brain function. And it's not just about telling the actual time, it's about understanding and learning and seeing and the brain function.
In a written statement, the Department of Education says in part, "We dedicate lesson time for all students in both first and second grades to develop these skills. Approximately 10 to 15% of overall math instructional time is dedicated to measurement and data, which includes the essential concept of time."
You're saying a lot of kids don't know how to read those clocks, so they don't want to read them. What do you think about that?
That's sad. See, that's why we need to work on the education system.
Some students say they do know how to read a clock, but many classmates don't. Others point to the fact that most of the clocks in their life are digital, which makes practicing the skill even harder.
It's a shared responsibility between the schools, between the parents, between everybody needs to come together as one.
Some schools are actually reviewing time telling now, but what educators and parents are telling me is that this phone ban issue is exposing the fact that basic skills need practice. On the east side, Torrance Geraldino, Fox 5 News.
That's unreal. All right, let's get a check of the forecast now with Audrey. Your world is just full of numbers and measurements. You got to tell a lot of stuff.
That's true. I'm on it every single day. And today we are talking about windy and cold conditions.